Okay, so welcome. Onward now to video webinar number 3, where we're going to talk about physical strategies that are going to help us in magnetizing our horse-human relationship. So welcome. I'm Miriam Brewer. I'll be with you for about 45 minutes on this last webinar, where we're going to talk about physical strategies that help with those three primary challenges that horse owners today are facing, and that is fear or unproductive emotion use, and fitness, whether it's mind, body, or mind or body or emotions. And lastly, physical strategies that help with conflicting information and ways that we can actually transfer groundwork to riding. So far, we're going to just take a bird's eye view, an overview of where what we've covered in video webinar part 1 and 2. So to be more horse-like, we want to get clear about our internal dialogue and the beliefs about our horses, and we want to let that stuff go. You are good enough, and so is your horse. You actually do have everything that you need. Tell the truth. There's no place to hide. The horses already know. Commit to improve and be unreasonable. Create your inner pictures, add feelings, energy, and a strong desire. Use your thoughtful and your creative imagination. Use principles instead of rules. And now we're going to talk about pushing our horses instead of pulling on our horses. So just like our already and always thinking, the places that are hidden from our view, we get into habits of thinking, feeling, and moving together with our horses, and we actually don't even realize that we're in these patterns. So how do we handle one another? Are we always pulling on one another? Do you guys recognize this Dr. Dolittle picture with the push me, pull you? There's a lot of coordination that has to actually happen to get this little mythical creature to move. But it is really no different than it is with our horses. There's a lot of coordination that needs to happen to get us to be able to move in harmony with grace with our horses. And we're going for grace, we're going for harmony, we're going for a two-way street of communication, a real place of harmony in our horsemanship. So horses do not pull on each other. So if we're going to be more horse-like, we're going to need to stop pulling and we're going to start to push on one another. This is a case where horses pull on one another, and maybe you've seen this. Horses playing what we call halter tag. They grab these wide, flat halters and they pull on them. And this happens, all the time. But these wide, flat halters are really designed for some sort of comfort to be pulling on, like when a wide, flat material pulls against your skin, muscle, and bone, it's not nearly as uncomfortable as a thin piece of material. And for this reason, this is why I use rope equipment, and I use it because horses tend to not want to pull on it, especially if I have a horse that wants to pull instead of give to the feel of the line. And we could talk about that. I've certainly used every kind of equipment people have had when I've shown up to help them. And there are no rules about the equipment. There's just what works and what works better. So here are some examples of horses pushing. This is my horse Sterling when he was just a colt, and you can see my track system, right? Remember we talked about that. The green space is where the boys live, and the track is on the outside, and you can see there's 2 horses on the inside of the track, and there's horses there on the outside of the track, and they're eating out of one of those small mesh, small hold hay nets that I was telling you about earlier. Colts tend to be nudgy and pushy and, sometimes need to be talked to. So here we have the picture on the left where the colt is pushing on the older gelding. and the older gelding on the top right is pushing on the colt, and then the colt is moving away because the older gelding is getting ready to push again. And then the whole interaction is over and they're back to grazing and there's no harm done. This is perfectly natural behavior. And horses that are raised in the company of other horses tend to not get themselves kicked, like the picture on the top. They get out of the way. And, he talked to him and talked to him and talked to him until finally he said, listen, buddy, you obviously need me to deliver a communication that you can hear. So we want to be more horse-like and maybe not take the lead of the gelding, who it took a lot of small conversations before he got to that big one. This is actually me and my horse Valentine. I apologize for the picture. I don't know why it looks all fuzzy like that, but you get the gist of it, right? Horses push. So you can see me moving toward the horse and the horse moving away. Can you see I'm walking toward the horse and the horse is moving away? And can you see all that slack that's in the lead rope? And the rope is actually just around the horse's neck. So it's not even on any kind of a halter. And so I'm pushing there with different types of pressure. So there's an intention that I have that I'm walking forward. So it's an intended pressure. It's energetic, but I'm not physically touching my horse in any way. So there's a lot of different ways that we communicate with our horses: intention, energetic pressure. And so there can be intended pressure, there can be energetic pressure, and there can also be physical pressure. And this is just an example of energetic and intended pressure. Here's an example. This is a little bit in that same session where there's an example of physical pressure. Again, the rope is simply around the horse's neck. There's tons of slack in it. You can see when in my right hand, how when the lead rope comes out of my hand, there's lots of slack in it. And I was really just trying to talk here. What happened with my left hand is I just reached out and I touched that right hind foot with that rope. So that's physical pressure. And my goal there was just to ask this horse to, just pull her trailing leg up underneath her and be a little more efficient in her body. So she's doing a really nice job of taking the responsibility of receiving this soft communication and responding without fear or worry. It wasn't like I stung her with the rope. I simply reached out and said, hey, can you move that a little bit further up there? You can see she's in complete communication. Can you see her right ear is on me and her left ear is forward? So she's not escaping. She's not worrying. She's just receiving my soft communication with complete connection, communication, and harmony. So once we're good at pushing our horses instead of pulling on our horses and being more horse-like, we can actually be in front of our horse and arc the energy and push the energy from behind. And one day you'll be able to do this too. You'll be able to move horses in all directions from anywhere. So being out in front without pulling, you see all the slack in the lead rope, right? There's an intention here. There's an intended pressure that she come with me, that she continue to go no matter what is in her way. And you see her just taking her responsibility really nice. This is Jessie. Remember her? I started her in my horsemanship school. She's taking the responsibility of just, dealing with whatever is in her way and just keeping up. And she's not resisting. She's not upset about it. She's just happy to move. The rope in my right hand is simply sending energy out and around behind. It's almost like a bubble that comes up behind her and says, move along if I need that to happen. So I don't need to pull on her face. I can actually push on her hindquarters from anywhere, no matter where I am. And really, I'm not even pushing on her hindquarters. That rope never touched her. It's just an arc of intention into the space behind her. And taking the time that it takes to teach our horses makes everything take less time. Are you pressed for time? I mean, who's not? I used to spend time doing things repeatedly that did not work. Now, if I see a thing is not working, I take the time to teach what I want and I use principles to do it. And it's always, the things that you don't want to happen always happen when you don't have any time to address them. Like when you've got all the time in the world, none of this behavior that you actually need to address and fix really shows up, right? It's only when you're pressed for time or you're dressed to go out and you really just ran outside to throw the horse a flake of hay that, that these things that need to be addressed, they come up. And what I've learned over the course of time, it's almost like children, um, I just take the time when things show up to fix them. And if I do that, everything takes less time. Because remember what I was saying in video in webinar number 2 about teaching my horse about who I am. So if I teach my horse that and they know, I mean, they see what I'm wearing, and they certainly know if I'm dressed to be with them or if I'm dressed to come out and throw some hay and then leave. So they know that, they know who I am. So they know whenever I show up, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to be talking to them about whatever's important to me in our relationship at the moment. There's never going to be a time when I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to address that later. I mean, not never. I mean, there might be times when, we're in the middle of something, maybe not so much anymore, but in the past, and we've had to find a place to end, and then we pick that discussion up again later. But these sessions, these lessons, this life strings together moments of time, days of time, weeks of time, months of time, years of time, seasons upon seasons, where we begin to really learn about one another. And they'll learn that, if I have a thing that's important to me, we're going to talk about it. And they do the same thing, and I address their needs. So we need to get a look at what is our horse's point of view, right? What are their needs? How do things look from their perspective? This pony, she's only 30 inches tall. Could you imagine? That's her whole point of view. Like, so how do I communicate with this pony? We took these horses to a school program, a career day program. You see, she's got little slippers on her feet that we put there to help give a little bit of traction on the slippery floors inside the school. So horses are built to be sensitive. Many horses have huge nostrils and noses that are 18 inches long, eyes set wide on both sides of their head, giving them near 360 degrees of vision, and ears that telescope in almost all directions. Horses are set up to take notice. We talk about, in horsemanship, we talk about having peripheral vision, like being able to open our arms out wide to our sides and being able to see both of our hands, right? So horses have peripheral vision with their right eye, and then when they turn around and they have all that peripheral vision out of their left eye. So they have near 360 degrees of vision. And plus those telescoping ears, I mean, have you seen them? They're just amazing. Being quadrupeds and so big, with 4 feet on the ground and a long body covered with sensitive skin, woven together by sensitive fascia, horses notice. Do you know what fascia is? Fascia is like a web of nerve endings and fibers under the skin that connect the whole body. We have it too. And you probably have seen it if you've ever like cut up chicken. They have this kind of web of netting that covers their skin. That's fascia. It is very sensitive. So, you've seen horses like shake their hip, right? Because there's a fly on it, or just shake the skin on their shoulder. We can't do that. Horses are definitely set up to notice. Horses are equipped to see, hear, and smell far better than humans. We want to listen to what they have to say instead of making the assumption that they're just being oppositional. Here in New Jersey, after Hurricane Sandy, lots of the roads and bridges were washed out. And it was back in 2012. I was out riding with some friends, and all of a sudden the horses stopped. They wouldn't go. So I got off and I walked ahead of my horse, and a good 100 yards in front of us around the bend, the whole road was washed out. And I think it's those 4 feet on the ground that had them know that there was danger ahead and that we couldn't go. We don't spend time with our feet on the earth like horses do. First, we're wearing shoes all the time. And not only that, but my house, I have to go up 4 steps just to get into my house. So my feet are not on the ground. My feet are at least 4 feet above the ground. Plus, I live in a 2-story home, and we drive in cars where our feet are not on the ground. We spend time in buildings and in stores. And, so our sensitivity to what the earth feels like is very different than the horses. So we need to give them credit for feeling the earth and noticing things that are happening. I remember being I was at a retreat, a healing retreat one time, and we were doing yoga. And when we were done the yoga, we had one of our fellow retreaters was playing his singing bowls. He had these beautiful brass bowls, and he was playing his bowls, and the bowl, he was going around, and they were like a medicine tool, like a healing tool. And I wanted to see if I could hear the bowl singing through the earth. So I laid my ear on the ground to listen. And it was really amazing what I heard. What I actually heard was road traffic, which was miles from us. We were deep out in the pinelands. We were in the forest, but I heard road traffic. And so I was really surprised about that. So I really want to encourage you to get in your horse's world and really pay attention. Those nostrils that they have that are so big, they can smell things that there's no way we can smell with our little short, 1 or 2 inch noses, and our nostrils that are barely a quarter of an inch if they're wide across. We do need to see things from their perspective. Every horse deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Every horse deserves the opportunity to learn to get along in our world. Remember what I was saying earlier about it's almost 2018 now. There is no reason for anybody to have a horse. There are very few people in in the developed world who actually use horses in their daily life for production or survival. There are some, but there are very few. And so to give them a place in our world, we need to be able to listen to them. There was a day in the past where everybody was so exhausted from just trying to survive, just, plowing the fields and planting the fields and weeding the fields and harvesting the fields and storing the food to get us through the winter and preparing our hay and our firewood and all the things that we needed to get us through the winter. Everyone was exhausted. But now horses spend time in pastures and they're quite bored. And boredom is certainly what do they say? Idle hooves are the devil's workshop. So we do need to be able to see things from the horse's perspective. Every horse is absolutely in communication. Every horse learns who will listen to them and who will not. Horse whisperers are really horse listeners. Horse listeners are people who pay attention and have patience and are persistent. These are physical strategies that are going to help you with your horse. Pay attention, listen, have patience, and be persistent. Our scattered thoughts and our uncontrolled mental pictures become like white noise to our horse if we don't manage them. This has to happen. Horses who live near shooting ranges, highways, airports, or railroads don't even notice the noise after a while. It just fades away into white noise. But horses who show up brand new to any of those environments, one of the things that happened a few years ago was the property across the street from me was for sale, and somebody bought it and installed a shooting range. And so that was lovely, right? Our quiet, peaceful farm community became a shooting range. And, at first, every time the horses heard a gunshot, they would run to the farthest reaches of the property. But now they don't even flinch. Now that we hardly hear it anymore, but because they went through that period of desensitization to the shooting, they don't even flinch. It was kind of like what I showed you about them crossing water, with the creek. They learn to do it on their own. I didn't have to teach them because I left them in the natural environment. And horses will learn in their natural environment if we allow them to learn that. Taking the time to observe, wait with an attitude of patience, allow the horses to show us what they need is how to become someone who listens to horses. Horses are magnetized to people who hear and clearly act on the horse's communicated wants and needs. True communication is a two-way street of sharing and understanding. I cannot say that enough. If you want to magnetize your horse to you, you need to be someone who listens to horses. Go back to my website and find that 16-page ebook for the love of horses that helps you to be able to be a keen observer without judgment, without added emotion, without what you think or what it seems like. Just see what the horse is telling you. True communication is a two-way street of sharing and understanding. Okay, so are you raring to go? I'm going to share a little 48-second video with you. And I want you to watch in this video. There's lots to watch. So I'm going to show it to you once, and then I'm going to show it to you again, and I'm going to share my what I want you to see. It's very short, and it's a video. And this is my Sterling when he was just 4 months old. Actually, I don't even think he was 4 months old. This is before I met him. Standing up on his hind legs. He's an Andalusian. He is quite agile on those hind legs. Let me just tell you, he's quite something. Okay. So this is, again, just a 48-second video. I'm just going to be quiet and I'm going to let you watch, and I want you to observe for the persistence in the human. And then from there, we actually go back to his food, right? So I'm going to play that again for you. And I'm going to talk with you about this. So this is me and my horse Sterling, and this is his breakfast, and I'm putting it there in his bowl. And because he's being kind of a little pushy, I'm just going to wave just a little tree branch that's out there right across his bowl. And then I ask him to back up. Watch this big weight in my body. Did you see that? That big weight? I'm going to show that again to you, okay? I want you to see how I say go back and then I wait. And I really, really have a big exaggerated weight in my body. See, no, I'm just waving that in the space across the bowl and throwing that stick away. Watch this big weight. Wait. Every bit of me says, you wait. I'm going to walk past him. And he comes to me. I say, no, go back. This is the persistence I was telling you about. Now wait. See the weight in my hand? I go again. You wait. You go back. And see, he just turns his head. No. Just shifts his weight. No, you go back and you wait. Good. And you stay there. Now with complete confidence, I'm just going to walk past him. But do you see the weight I have in my right hand? I still have like a hang on there, buddy. Just like a communication that says you wait. And then there I just release him and say, okay, I'm going to trust you to maintain gait, maintain direction. That's a principle. And then I say, come. And of course he leaps into action and runs to me. But then he pushes right through me. And I say, no, you back up and be gentle. You come to me and be soft. Look how big he is. I need him to be gentle and to be careful and to be soft around me so we can have our smooches and be close and we can touch one another respectfully and carefully. And like I was showing you in our webinar number 1, where I did that little saddling demonstration where, we really put our heart in our hands and we touch our horses in a gentle way. When we do that, we're teaching them. That's how we want them to teach. That's how we want them to touch us. We want horses to be connected and to be able to touch us, but be careful. Horses are big, humans are fragile. Just show you this one time. He's got so much going on with his head. Yeah, good boy. Nice backup. You wait there. Good boy. Oh, you go back. Yeah, you wait. See the persistence? I just keep putting him back. Remember the horse in the stall door? Back on in the other webinar about, the person who wanted their horse to just wait. That's what you do. You just keep putting them back and putting them back and putting them back until your picture is fulfilled. Now, give him the responsibility. Trust that he's going to say, I would love to do what you want me to do. Trust that he'll respond. Good boy. And then when I say, come, you'll come. And he just leaps into action. He couldn't be any happier. Notice he didn't go to the food. He came to me. And then from here, we walk to the food together after I ask him to not push on me. Good boy, gentle boy. Yes, very good boy. Yep. And then we just go ahead and I just allow him to go to the food by himself. Good. All right, so remember the three biggest concerns of horsewomen today, right? The number one was the fear of being hurt or hurting our horses or our horses being hurt. Fitness, how to be fit into older age, mentally, physically, emotionally, emotional fitness that helps us be with our horses. And then the conflicting information, you ask 10 people and you get 10 answers. My hope is that through principles, you have a way to think your way through that conflicting information through principles and observation, like using that 16-page ebook lesson for the love of horses to really observe exactly what's happening and see what's happening and really know what's important to you and what is it that you want. So if you have any questions about any of those things, you can just send me an email, marianne@mariannebrewer.com, and I'd be happy to clarify those things. You wouldn't send me an email there for a discovery call if you want to talk about For the Love of Horses, our one-on-one coaching program. But if you have any questions about those three issues, you can definitely send me an email, marianne@mariannebrewer.com. And I want to share with you now the offer that I have for you, which is our 6-month coaching program. It's a one-on-one online personal coaching program that can happen anywhere in the world. This program is for you if you don't want to waste another day missing out on a truly magnetized relationship with your horse. I don't know about you, but as people get older, I'm noticing that tomorrow's not a promise for anybody. You know that what you're doing right now is not working, or it's not working as well as you'd like it to work for you. If you're done buying gadgets, if you're done paying monthly fees and the piecemeal approach to horse training that only makes the slightest difference at best, in lieu of knowing how to train your own horse in the way that you want, in the relationship that you want. Maybe you're tired of the round pen or the lunge line that only exercise your horse's body and barely your horse's mind. It's much, much easier to train a horse's mind than it is to train their body. Each week, we'll talk on the phone or face-to-face on Zoom. And Zoom is this meeting that you're watching right now. You see how easy it is to watch this meeting. So we can either meet on Zoom, and when I have clients in different places in the world, that's what we do. And we process each lesson each week. I custom make videos for you to broaden and deepen your understanding of some of the written lessons as we move forward together in magnetizing your horse and human relationship. But this drip is to show you that you actually get an email dripped to you each week to help cultivate the landscape of mindset, of production, emotion use, and physical strategies. I'll make videos for you, and you'll make videos for me. And just like we looked at the video, that video just right there of Sterling and I at feed time, we can go back and forth and we can look at videos We can stop and rewind, and it's really, really a super effective way to learn because you're not actually in the company of your horse. So many things come up. You're in the comfort of your own home just looking at a video. And then if you, oh, we'll talk about that on the next page. Um, so if you have the passion to change and you have, if you have the passion to change and to actually have your dream relationship with your horse, you're in the right place. If you have the desire to be the change that you would like to see in your horse, where communication is a two-way street and relationship is what keeps everyone safe, if you're in it for the peace and joy that you'll experience as you see yourself and your horse make changes together that shape your dream relationship, you are in the right place. And I want to share some results with you now. Some of the students that I'm currently dealing with, or that I've been coaching in the past. Marianne and I had a. This is Karen. She's a retired school teacher. Mary and I had a great time learning about horsemanship and humanship myself. I know my horses got a lot out of seeing me become a better leader and partner by becoming clearer in my requests of what I ask of them. I still have a lot more to learn, and I'm grateful to my friend and teacher for working with us on honesty. It's really true. You know, when your horse actually sees you changing, they notice. You know, just like when we see our horses changing, we notice. This is Doreen. She actually just completed her 6-month coaching program. This is her horse Maserati. She's owned him for 5 years. She bought him from a show barn where she boarded her other horse, Deja Vu. Maz is an American show horse. Actually, they both are. And that's the job he was bred to do. And he started that job as a 3-year-old. He lived, no longer does he live this life. He lived inside. He was ridden only inside for preparation for showing. And if he was outside, it was in a riding lesson with a trainer. And you can see how much they love each other. There's no question they have a bond and a relationship. And his face, like you see over his eyebrow and his muzzle, they're shaved because he's a show horse and he was going to a show. And they shave his ears and his eyebrows and his whiskers. Something I do not recommend. That's something that happened in that show world. And this is a picture of the two of them in a show. The American show horse, yeah, they arrived home. So Doreen, when she first became my coaching client, Doreen sent me this note. She was going to a show that she had spent thousands of dollars and time and energy preparing for down in Virginia. She lives here in New Jersey. And she sent me this note and she said she arrived home early from a show due to unexpected circumstances. I fell down the rabbit hole and I had used every tool I learned to get me out. Me and Maserati were a team and our trust in each other grew, which is worth more to me than any award. I'm grateful for the challenges in spite of how difficult they are, and I choose to believe there's a lesson to be learned which will direct me on this journey too. And she didn't know where she was going with her horse, but she knew that she did not want this life. It was the only life she knew. She was introduced to this life in horses, and through our coaching program, she was introduced to a different life. 3 short months later, Maserati has moved. His back is no longer sore. He's no longer spooky. In this photo, Doreen is riding him in a rope halter, and she's trusting her horse. And do you see how he's stretching forward and down, stretching out his back? This was something he was never allowed to do in his lessons. He always needed to be in this show position, in this show horse position. She couldn't brush him. He didn't like to be saddled because he was so sore. He was very sweet and they cared very much about one another, but his body was so sore. He never had a chance to be a horse, to go out and move. This long and low position, it's something he really wanted to do. The trainers always rode him in a double bridle because he would just get stronger and stronger and stronger because he lived a life indoors. One of the reasons they rode him indoors all the time was because he was so spooky. And one of the reasons he was so spooky is because he never got to go outside. So it was a huge transformation. I can't tell you enough about the transformation. And this is not even the horse that Doreen came into my program with. This is Maz again. He now lives outside in his herd of two. This is Maz in the back, and this is Deja Vu, her mare that she actually came into the program for. He's learned about bugs and mud and wind and trees and grass and friends and herd dynamics. He's super connected to Doreen, and he loves to play with her at Liberty. The transformation that happened in him came so quickly. I was just stunned and amazed and thrilled all at the same time. They've got a lot of places to go, but she's now trail riding him, something she never imagined was going to happen. And Deja is the horse that Doreen brought to our coaching relationship. She was very nervous, especially at the canter. Doreen learned and taught Deja through principles and managed her emotions and trusting in each other through consensual leadership. I got a note from Doreen that said she had an awesome weekend with Deja Vu, practicing our Liberty groundwork and then going to our first hunter pace together. We are becoming an awesome team, learning to trust each other and know each other on a different level. I'm so excited for our future together. Thank you, Marianne. And this was a horse that every single time she asked the horse to canter, the horse would get nervous and worried, and it would go faster and faster and faster. And when I actually helped, I don't have a photo to show you, but in this posture, she rode Deja Vu in the same posture. And when Deja started to move like this, then she was actually able to feel comfortable in her body. Doreen could ride. She was always a good rider, and she loved these horses, and she was willing to do whatever was needed to really help these horses move themselves along. And so they gallop across country. Now, this was just this, our 6-month coaching relationship ended in November. So this was just a couple of months ago. So they did a great job. This is Mary and her horse Dandy. And their goal was to get back on the trails. They live really close to a place that has miles and miles and miles of trails. And when I first met Mary, she couldn't even catch Dandy. Something happened in their relationship, and it all completely changed. And you can see Mary, she too is riding in her rope halter. This is not her saddle, but she actually needed a different saddle. One of the things we discovered was that Dandy's saddle was really uncomfortable and it didn't fit her. And that was part of what was going on with her. But the two of them now are in such a beautiful, beautiful, a beautiful place. They've changed so much. It's been extraordinary to actually see them. These are some of my current coaching clients. A married couple, Gail and Tony. 3 years ago, they fulfilled their dream of horse ownership. And then, of course, the nightmare began as they traversed boarding facility after boarding facility after boarding facility and found themselves down that rabbit hole of conflicting information, so much conflicting information, one thing after the next. Everybody had an opinion about what they should do with their horses. And now what they did earlier this year is they bought their own farm. And in October, I'm proud to say that they actually invested in their equine education. Sometimes what happens is we get so overwhelmed with the cost and the frustration of all of horse ownership that people don't invest in having a well-rounded education of what I'm going to call horsemanship, not just riding lessons, but true well-rounded horsemanship. I'm very proud of these two. And Holly, just 4 weeks into our coaching relationship and getting joyous results already. This is a note she sent to me. Vinny and I worked on the threshold method on the ground today outside of my comfort zone. And just to expand on thresholds a little bit, I have all of these 2-minute tips on my Facebook page. If you hashtag 2-minute tip on my Facebook page, you'll probably find them. And I did a 2-minute tip on thresholds. But it's very real, and it's a strategy that makes a huge difference. And so we went out. So what she said is, we did great. I honestly admit and accept it's all me. If we had to stop, it was not because he was anxious, it was because I was anxious. After I did the relaxation method that you suggested, we moved forward. My goal was to walk Vinny halfway down the short end of the hayfield and back. We did so great. We walked halfway down the middle of the hayfield also. There were even a few times he would lift his head up from grazing and look into my eyes as if to say, thank you, another great day of progress. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, and that's my goal, is that people build each day on the day before, and they make little bits of progress along the way, because the fastest way to train a horse is slow. This is Candace and her horse Ollie. Hi, Marianne. I wanted you to know how well Ollie did today in the wind and scary places he hadn't wanted to go and visit at all since you were here with us. He looks pretty relaxed, right? He only had one small spook. This is a big deal, and I am so proud of him. Yeah, this is a gal who inherited this horse from her daughter, who went off to college. And she takes really great care of him, but she didn't know how to take care of their actual relationship. She knows how to take physically care of him, but she didn't know how to emotionally and mentally connect and care for him. So they're doing super things. So I want you to be the peacock. I want you to send me pictures and be loud and proud of how you and your horse have changed your relationship. And that's why I've created this one-on-one personal horsemanship coaching program. This program is right for you if you're unwilling to set limits on living your dream horse life every single day. And remember what I said earlier, right? Tomorrow's not promised for anyone. There is no time to waste. This program is for you if you're excited to explore what's possible in your relationship with your horse. This is not be like me horsemanship, right? This is be like you and your horse. And even if you've never worked one-on-one with a coach, or even if you're brand new to horses, even if you've had horses all of your life, I have a new client who actually owns a boarding facility. She's had horses her whole entire life. And that one horse came along that's teaching her a whole new way of being. And she's changing all of her life in her boarding facility. So even if you don't own a horse, maybe you lease a horse. Once you own these skills and you become a skilled horseman, these skills go with you everywhere. It's like I was telling you in video 1, how I get to go around to all my horsemanship clients and I get to prove to all of these horses who Marianne is, right? That's what happens. You become a horseman, and those skills travel with you wherever you go. People notice too, by the way. I had a client whose barn owner was asking her, how do you do that? Can you show me some of these? It was Doreen and Deja. Her barn owner was like, oh, wow, I can't even believe what you're doing with that horse. Can you show me how to do that? She wrote to me and she said, Marianne, I can't believe this lifelong horse owner is asking me how to do things. But you become the change you want to see in the horse world. You become the example. This 6-month program is custom designed to meet your goals. And I'm here with you every single step along the journey to support your dream and challenge your long-held beliefs. I'm not only your biggest cheerleader, but I'm also here to challenge you and really get you out of those long-held beliefs that might be holding you back, that already and always conversation. Some of the key lessons are these: true communication with your horse, something we call the conversation, clean observation, understanding and sharing space, kind of like the Sterling videos that I've shared with you, consensual leadership, actually sharing leadership. It's not about dominance. It's actually about handing over leadership sometimes to our horses and trusting that they're going to take the lead, or that we need to own our leadership and that we need to take the lead. If we're going to ride our horses, they're actually going to be going first. So we want to trust in their judgment. We want a horse that's light as a want to, right? And you've seen that in Sterling, light as a want to. Oh, improv. Improv is so funny. We actually use the principles of improvisational theater to play at liberty with our horses. And you kind of saw that in the very first video, the opening video on webinar number 1, Or I was just kind of out kind of playing around with Sterling before we ate, before he ate his breakfast, before we ate, because we share breakfast, before he ate his breakfast, just playing around with some improvisations. So what can I do with the space? What can I do with the stuff that's in the space? Just playing with no real goal other than that we have connection and communication. At turning our horse's no into a yes. Faith and encouraging goodwill, really trusting our horses and really encouraging their goodwill. Liberty in large spaces. You saw that in the video with Sterling, right? Liberty in a 2-acre pasture where he's connected. He doesn't leave me. And if he does leave me, I talk with him about it. I talk with him about how to stay connected even far away. Using your principles in not only on the ground and in your horsemanship all over in your everyday interaction with your horse, but also in your riding. Harmony and creativity, goal setting, the myth and the mystery, and results with grace. Ultimately, results with grace, being graceful with your horse, being more horse-like. And you'll be in good company because my one-on-one coaching clients have a small and private Facebook group where they share things that are important to them that maybe they don't want to share publicly. So you'll be in good company. And what will you have in 6 months? You'll have a horse who asks you questions, and you will fully recognize this, and you will have the answers. You'll have a magnetized horse-human relationship, safe, confident, and having fun. Choosing to work with me one-on-one to realize your dreams is a gift worth giving yourself today and your horse. For the Love of Horses is my trademarked program, and it's a one-of-a-kind coaching relationship. I am only one person, and I believe in giving myself fully. And there are only 5 one-on-one coaching relationships available at any given time because it's private and it's personal. And I want you to know that for 18 years, while I was working my way through my horsemanship program and raising my children, I worked in construction. It was while I was in a personal development program that I chose to change my life and go away to horsemanship school. I know what it means to take big risks and to follow your dreams. I'm a living example of that. When I came home from horsemanship school, I began a 12-year journey of observation and self-discovery in my arena with my loose horses. More than 15,000 people and counting learn about their own patterns of behavior through my equine-assisted learning company. You see, those are my loose horses, and those are clients working with my loose horses. So all those 15,000 people that I've worked with, my horses have worked with. They're professionals just like me. And I know this feeling well. I know what it means to learn about myself through the horses because that's what I've spent my whole life doing. And so now I get to live my dream life with horses, and I get to help you do it too. This is my Sterling when he was just a little baby boy. And this is a full 6-month coaching program, and there will be an investment, and there is more. And I just want you to take a second and look at this picture because I put this picture in here because that's my living quarters horse trailer. And I love to travel and go places with horses, and I love to go camping. And this is a place where we were actually camping. So if that's something that you love to do or something that you want to do, hit me up on that. Send me an email to marianne@mariannebrewer.com because I'm always looking to add to the groups of people that I travel and visit around the country and around the world. So that's something that I just love to do. So there are bonuses, and no, it's not a pony. So the bonus, you actually get an extra bonus phone call or video coaching every single week of your coaching program. That's a total of 48 hours of coaching phone calls or videos. And those calls can be used for mindset strategies or physical strategies as we look at some of those videos together. And there's more. There's a special fast action bonus, and but you'll need to ask for it. And here's another thing. I have an affiliate program Or if you know somebody that this program would be perfect for and you refer them to me and they become one of my one-on-one coaching clients, I'll actually send you a check and you can ask me how that works on a discovery call. So those are some nice bonuses for you. And here's what I know, and that is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I'm going to ask, are you ready to live your dream horse life with your horse? If you are, you may apply for a free discovery call at my acuity scheduling service called acuityscheduling.com. So you go to mariannebrewer.acuityscheduling.com. And on that scheduling service, you'll see a whole list of of times when I am available, and you'll just pick one of those times, and then you'll get an email confirmation just before our call, and I'll get one of those too. And at the appointed time, you'll call me. This is a free discovery call, and we'll spend an hour on the call really diving into the life that you want to live with horses, the dream horse life that you want to live with horses. So I would love to be your coach. I would love to be part of that experience for you. And I'd love for you to imagine what a difference you'll have in 6 months from now because you committed yourself to a one-on-one coaching program. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed these 3 webinars. I hope you've taken tons of value out of them. There was so much information. Feel free to go back and watch them again. And then I look forward to talking with you on a discovery call, or I look forward to seeing you out in the horse world. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'll talk with you again. Bye-bye.